We're currently building a cabin in York that is 160 square metres with 9 rooms in total, including 3 bedrooms. What started off as some simple framework and a handful of timber is now taking serious shape. The next stage of the build involves these 10-metre long purlins that have got to go up there. What we do need is a well-equipped farmer with some heavy machinery, because we can't exactly lift these on our own. Luckily for us, we found a man that ticks both boxes. Our customer Matthew. With purlin number 1 loaded and over that big pile of mud someone left in the way, we aim to get it as close as possible to its final spot, because it weighs an absolute ton and is definitely not easy to move by hand. With purlin number 1 in and close, it's time for purlin number 2 and some cinematic JCB action. Without extended forks, trying to get these purlins into the middle of the building would have been quite difficult. With the middle actually quite close, a last little adjustment at the very end, this purlin is ready to go in its hole. Glad that's done. Big thank you to Matthew for helping us get it up. Got to twist them now, put them in their little grooves, align it all, lock it together with some really serious screws, then we can start putting some rafters on. I used a sash clamp to tip the joists over and get them into their grooves. And then I didn't, but I did give it a good shake to make sure it stayed there. A few little taps with a mallet and down it goes. In she goes. It's a good beam. Need that mallet. Trying to tip these purlins into place on your own is a little bit of a daunting task, if I'm honest, because at any point it could just tip the other way and send you flying, which is not really what I'm after. Now I have to admit that when you've got something that weighs as much as this purlin does and it's right above your head and you know full well it's going to drop, suddenly I was quite terrified. But with the 2 purlins secured together and to the building, I needn't worry anymore. As the saying goes, that's not going anywhere. Now this pallet we're unwrapping contains every single rafter we're going to need for the building. And I've been looking forward to this bit because it means that we can actually put a roof on this building, which with the weather we've been having could not come soon enough. Up I go, very carefully, one-handed, up the ladder with the very first rafter of the building. This goes flush with the very end of the purlin and the overhangs, as this is what the fascia is going to travel down. The soffit will also be fixed to the underside of this rafter, but you'll see that in a later video, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can see that later video. And up we go with rafter 2 for the other side of the building. You'll see at the top of these that they've actually got is it a bird's mouth or a seat cut? One of the two, let me know in the comments which one it is. But these are being secured down with 280mm screws at the very ridge, and they are going to have a connecting plate put on, which you will see later. And then they're going to have L brackets put at the very bottom, and they get secured in with screws. Full fill. We then put the rafters on hold and we finished off the day by putting all of the reinforcement bars in all of the windows and all of the door openings to strengthen up the entire building, give it a bit more rigidity. With the reinforcement bars in, they're completely done. We've got the first rafter on, we know where we're at. I thought today was actually going to be rafter day, but then I realised that we can't put the rafters on without wrapping the building because the rafter tyres go on the outside. Can't put the wrap on until we've sorted the cutout out. Obviously in the previous video you saw the problem we had with that. I've done the tops, they're completely done, but the bottoms have got to be done in situ. I'm going to mark up the first one, start cutting that while Ben 10 toes it around the building, marking up the rest ready for me to come round and cut. Once that's done, we can wrap it. Now I'm doing these horizontal cuts in 2 passes with the circular saw, and that's purely just to make it a little bit easier on the motor. And then coming back with the multi-tool to finish off these edge cuts, because with it being a circular blade it doesn't quite get all the way to the end. And then finishing off the cross cut with the handsaw, and you'll notice I'm using a crowbar just to lever the cut piece out, and that is because the circular saw only has a maximum cut depth of 64mm and we need 70. Those of you with eagle eyes will probably notice that we forgot to do this cut out at the top here, so we're going to get that cut out. This was the worst cut of all, having the sawdust blowing straight in your face even with glasses on. But coming back in with the handsaw, that is now finished, and we can move on to these other 2 windows at the bottom, get them cut out. They're for the triangular windows, can't wait to see them go in. Even if I will be fighting for my life trying to get them in. With the cutouts complete, we can actually move on to getting on the air and vapour barrier on the building once I've finished trying to, well, unwrap it. Before we do actually install it, let's have a little talk about what it even is. So this is Ecovilla Smart X. It's basically an internal air and vapour barrier. It will not pass building control inspections without being installed. So when you get cold air meeting warm air, you get condensation, that will try to travel through to the building. And because this is going on the warm side of the insulation, it will stop any of that condensation and moisture forming, travelling through to our timber structure, keeping it nice and dry, which is what we want. We're securing this in with 10mm staples going around the building, paying special attention to these corners because it does need to be nice and tight to the structure. We're going to zoom straight past these window openings, and what we'll do is we'll cut them out later. It's almost a shame having to cover up the building at this point, but it is a necessary evil, even if it is mundane. Now this is not an exact science, but you do need to make sure that you're pulling it nice and tight all the way around, but it does shrink itself a little bit when it's exposed to the air. Once we have actually made our way around this building once and then twice, we need to have a 200mm overlap at the very least from the top layer to the one underneath it. And you also have to tape the seams with a very specific tape. And with the first one round completely finished, I'm going to cut these little window and door bits out just so we can actually get into the building. And then we're going to jump on to doing the second one, which is a little bit more difficult because you've got these overhangs to contend with. And a lot of up and down ladders. And that's a wrap. The window and door cutouts, they're completely done, and we are rafter ready. It's about time this thing had a roof on, and then we ain't got to worry about them clouds giving us rain. Now I want to know from you guys if you prefer a condensed 5 to 10 minute video each week, or if you want them slightly longer. Your opinion matters to me, so obviously let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, turn your notifications on and set your preferences to all. That way you'll see exactly what comes out on this project, because it's not just your Thursdays, there's little bits in between, but you won't find them without your notifications on. I'll see you next Thursday at 7. Big fish, little fish cardboard box, bigger or smaller. And I'll see you next week at Thursday at 7. Bollock.